What is up? GoodMicWork back at you for episode 350. I really wish I had more to talk about tonight for sort of a milestone episode, I guess you could call it. 350 episodes is nothing to shake a stick at. But unfortunately, I didn't enjoy Raw very much. I didn't think it was a very good show, so I'm going to kind of blow through the results here and talk about it. We'll give a full Battleground preview and what the card is looking like so far, and maybe get into a few other wrestling news tidbits as well. Again, I just want to thank everybody for their awesome support over the years. This being my 350th episode, I really don't take episodes, milestones like this very seriously because as many of you know, 350 episodes is just an estimate. When I first started doing commentaries, just on the side for a hobby, and I didn't really take it very seriously, I was uploading things, deleting things, and just doing a bunch of crap and really wasn't keeping track of it. And it wasn't until I got to like episode 101 where I told myself, okay, I'm going to start counting from here on out. Everything that I've done before, I'm just going to assume it's been somewhere around 100 commentaries, and then after that, I started counting and keeping track. But all in all, it's been a fun 350-ish episodes, and it's been a fun few years. I've learned a lot. I've grown. This channel has evolved. I've really been pleased with the amount of success that I've had, even though my subscriber count is nowhere near where I want it to be. I know all of you always include me in great company whenever somebody tweets, hey, the podcasters and commentators I like to listen to the most are so-and-so and so-and-so and GoodMicWork, and the names that they mention besides me are pretty big names. I'm like, wow, that's an honor. So I appreciate everybody being so supportive and getting my name out there and sharing me and telling me how much they enjoy my work. You guys are the best. I can't say enough good things about how much positive feedback I get from all of you. So if it not for that, I don't know if I would really be interested in doing this. It's all of you that kind of keeps it going. So I appreciate that. I really want to try to push my channel hard this year, if I can. I mean, I'm gaining subscribers every day, but hopefully I can have a few tricks up my sleeve and things I'm going to do this year that will really help get my name out there a little bit more and gain popularity on this channel. That's my overall goal. The more popular I get, the more serious I will take it. So I'm looking forward to the future. And again, thank you for all your awesome support. Enough sucking your dicks. Let's get into Monday Night Raw. Like I said, Raw tonight was not a very good show. However, I was curious about it because we're coming off the heels of the big Roman Reigns news. So I mentioned in my breaking news video when that happened that I suspected WWE might have known about it because what happened at Money in the Bank with him losing clean. I mean, Roman Reigns won the WWE title in the main event of WrestleMania, defeating Triple H. For him to lose in that way really surprised me, and then it all started to make sense when we learned of the suspension. And sure enough, the news has come out. The story has been leaked, I guess, or people are in the know are saying that WWE management did in fact know of the drug violation or the wellness policy violation prior to Money in the Bank, which is why they took the title off of Roman Reigns, which is what I suspected. It reminds me of RVD. Same thing happened to him when him and Sabu got pulled over and had pot in the car, and then WWE had to end his title reign. He was probably going to hold that belt till SummerSlam, and he ended up dropping it to Edge on Monday Night Raw. So WWE had Roman Reigns drop it clean to Seth Rollins, derailing the monster push that he was right in the middle of. It's amazing now that the story has come out because you really wonder how this is going to affect Roman Reigns. The wrestling fans, I guess, should be happy that, number one, he's gone for 30 days, and when he comes back, it's not like the WWE is going to put the belt right back on him. And in fact, his very first night back will be a title match because they are, in fact, keeping him in the triple threat match, which, when I was talking about his suspension in my breaking news video, I was just assuming they were going to have to write him out of Battleground, even though his suspension ended before Battleground. I thought they were going to have to do something to get him out of the match, but no, they intended all along to keep him in there, to announce the suspension in just enough time to where he could return. And the whole thing is very weird. We haven't come across too many situations like this. It's very odd. Tonight on Raw, we saw that WWE didn't hold anything back. They were honest with everybody, honest with the fans. Seth Rollins came out on Raw to open the show and gave a half shoot on Roman Reigns, saying, I'm not supposed to talk about it, but I'm here to talk about it. He fucked up. He made a mistake. He embarrassed himself, and he embarrassed me. He even put up Roman Reigns' tweet apologizing to his family and friends on the Titantron during his promo. So it was, it's always cool when reality and fantasy, the lines are blurred a little bit there. So I kind of like that they brought all this up and were being honest with people, because there's no reason not to. It's not like the old days where you can just make some shit up or run an injury angle and let Roman serve his suspension. They are being honest with the fans, saying he screwed up and got suspended, and when he comes back, he's got a title shot. Now, I really cannot see Roman Reigns getting the belt back and resuming his title reign. If that happens, that would really surprise me. I mean, it could, because he could get the belt back just in time to defend it at SummerSlam, and they could get right back on track of where they were originally going. I'm sure, with Roman Reigns, but after that wellness policy violation, you got to think there's got to be some sort of repercussions. And for them just to give him the belt back and make him a 4-time WWE champion at Battleground, I think would be fucking crazy, to be honest with you. So at this point, WWE's got to rewrite their plans, and the plans are already disheveled enough as it is because we have the draft coming up on July 19th. So WWE probably internally, those writers and creators are probably freaking out right now trying to get all this organized. So they might have to go, Roman Reigns' suspension is going to have to cause them now to rewrite some shit, and Dean Ambrose might have to be the one that kind of goes on the same track Roman Reigns is going to go as far as the title goes. He might have a big title defense at SummerSlam and drop it. I'm not really sure if I can see Dean Ambrose holding that belt until Survivor Series or until the end of the year. I think his reign has got to be relatively short. So the Roman Reigns situation has definitely made things very interesting because he's going to come back to God knows what kind of reaction at Battleground. I mean, fans already boo him. They're going to be booing the shit out of him now. And then if for some reason he wins, I can't even imagine what the fans will do if that happens. But it's just going to be curious where the WWE goes with him from here. Everybody's been dying for him to turn heel. I think this is a prime opportunity to bring him back as a heel. He doesn't have to turn heel right away, although he could, turning heel at Battleground and winning the title. I could almost live with Roman Reigns winning the title if he turned heel. He's not the draw that WWE thinks he is, and hopefully this will have them realize that and they can bring him back in a different way. I don't mind Roman Reigns being a top contender. I don't mind him being a 10-time WWE champion as long as they book him in a way that doesn't make us throw up. So this could be a big opportunity for everyone. It could be a wake-up call for Roman Reigns. He could come back, with new life. WWE can maybe change the way they book him a little bit, and the fans will be happy and everybody wins. So we'll have to wait and see. But getting into Raw now, like I said, Seth Rollins did open up the show and talked about the Roman Reigns suspension, pretty much insulted Roman Reigns and was giving him a lot of shit for his suspension. He was then interrupted by Dean Ambrose, who was a little bit more willing to give Roman Reigns the benefit of the doubt, and talked about that Seth Rollins is just out of luck and it's going to be a triple threat match for the WWE title. Dean Ambrose doesn't care at all. He doesn't care if it's 1-on-1, 2-on-1, 10-on-10, whatever. He's fine with it. And then out of nowhere comes AJ Styles. His music hits and he starts coming down to the ring, and I was briefly intrigued, even though for not very long. I'm like, there's no way AJ can be involved in this match. He's got his thing going with Cena. They have to have a match at Battleground. There's no other way around it. So whatever AJ's going to come out here and say, all I know is he's not going to be in that title match. But sure enough, AJ says, I want in. If Roman Reigns should be booted out, I want to take his place. Which then prompts John Cena to come out and say the same thing. Hey, I'm a 15-time world champion. If anybody deserves to be in this match, it's me. So I propose that we make it a fatal 5-way. Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, AJ Styles, and myself for the WWE title. Finally, Stephanie, of course. You knew somebody was going to come out, Shane or Stephanie, to sort all this out. And basically says, okay, those are valid points. So you guys are going to have to earn this opportunity, and this is the moment that you knew exactly what was going to happen. Raw was extremely predictable. I mean, basically from the moment Stephanie walked out there, I said to myself, okay, she's going to make a couple of matches with stipulations that will allow these guys to get into the main event match if they win. And each guy is going to screw over the other, or one of them's going to screw one of them, or something, and they are going to lead to their one-on-one match at Battleground anyway, and that's how they're going to set it up, and that is exactly what happened. And it's a shame, because she made 2 matches, John Cena versus Seth Rollins, which was the co-main event of SummerSlam last year, so not a small match. And then she also had AJ Styles versus Dean Ambrose. If AJ and Cena won their respective matches, they were in and inserted into the WWE title match at Battleground. So it could be a 5-way, it could be a 4-way, or it could remain a triple threat. And it was just so fucking obvious what they were going to do. Seth Rollins has his match with John Cena, which I actually liked, but it was very predictable because the club came out there and distracted John Cena, allowing Seth Rollins to hit Cena with the pedigree and pin him. So in 8 days' time, Seth Rollins has pinned Roman Reigns and John Cena. That's pretty fucking huge. Don't give me any of that, oh, it wasn't clean shit. Fuck you. But at the same time, it was predictable. It was a perfect way to give John Cena a loss, who's now lost 2 matches, by the way, since he's been back, and he hasn't been back very long. And you knew he was going to be pissed off, and you knew that John Cena was going to do something to AJ Styles in his match with Dean Ambrose later on. That was the main event. We'll go ahead and fast forward to that. And sure enough, John Cena comes out there, allowing Ambrose to pick up the victory, and the main event at Battleground remains a triple threat match for for the WWE title between the Shield guys. And John Cena, after he causes AJ to lose, the club beats his ass again. So since John Cena has been back, he's lost to AJ Styles, he lost to Seth Rollins tonight, and literally every week on Monday Night Raw it seems like he's getting the crap beaten out of him. And it happened again tonight. They took him up and Gallows and Anderson gave him their finisher on the stage, which looked like a really sick bump, and the club just dominated over Cena again. So I'm assuming that this will set up a match between Cena and AJ with some sort of a stipulation. I'm sure they will do this next week. It's the 4th of July show, so both of the back pockets on John Cena's jorts are going to be American flags. And I'm sure he's going to challenge AJ to some sort of a match where the club is not allowed to interfere. Cage match, Hell in the Cell, Gallows and Anderson are banned or they're fired. I don't know what kind of stip they're going to do, but you know it's going to have to be something. And I expect all of that to be formally announced next week, possibly even, I don't know, as early as SmackDown, but I guess next Monday might be a good place to make that match. WWE has to realize that sometimes their show is so formulaic and they've done the same thing so many times that the fans can see it coming from miles away. And this was one of those Raws where, you know, yeah, I understand they have to build and set up AJ Styles versus John Cena. We're not idiots. We know they're going to wrestle at Battleground. So the WWE has to do something to set that up. But when you book it in a way that they did tonight, it made both of those matches, Rollins and Cena and Ambrose and AJ, very predictable. And the outcome's predictable. And even how the guys won was predictable because you knew there was going to be interference and shenanigans from both guys. So that, for me, kind of ruined it just to get to the result that we knew was going to be anyway, with the triple threat for the WWE title and Cena versus AJ. So both matches were solid on the bright side. Rollins and Cena was pretty good, and so was AJ versus Ambrose. And so I have no problem really with that. But like I said, the outcomes were just, ugh. As far as what else happened on Raw, not a whole lot. Some of the bigger storylines, number one was the Wyatts and the New Day. The New Day came out there dressed as the Wyatts, which was crazy looking. And they're kind of playing off that fact that Xavier kind of gets entranced or gets a little bit distracted when he's interacting or when he's listening to Bray Wyatt speak. So I like that the WWE has that little twist in there. I was worried about them going overboard with the comedy. And when I saw New Day coming out there dressed like the Wyatts, I was like, oh my God. First of all, that's fucking hilarious. But second of all, don't overdo it with this funny shit. But they have that little dark side to it where Xavier, you don't know what he's going to do. And when these two teams eventually have a match, which I'm assuming will take place at Battleground, maybe they can do something to mentally kidnap or mentally handicap Xavier. Maybe they can do some mind control shit on him and have him turn on the New Day and he doesn't know what he's doing, or I don't know. So you have a feeling with that little twist in there that maybe it can make it entertaining. But the segment itself was ridiculous, seeing those guys dressed like that. And Bray came out there and cut his very Bray-like promo and was very good. And, I guess they'll do something else on SmackDown and on Raw, and then eventually we'll get the match announced for Battleground. Another match for Battleground that was set up and I think actually announced was Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens. They were both on the highlight reel, and Jericho allowed the two of them to talk. Sami Zayn cut a pretty damn good promo. I enjoyed it a lot. So did Kevin Owens. He always does. And Jericho was the little treat in this whole thing because he was funny as shit, and then he starts talking smack to both guys and being very full of himself in a very Jericho-like way. And then the two guys, these two bitter enemies, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, give Chris Jericho a double super kick right in the middle of his catchphrase. So that was pretty awesome. Good overall segment, good piece of business. I liked it, and looking forward to the match. So these guys will settle things finally at Battleground because most likely they'll be on different shows after the draft. Enzo and Cass squashed a couple of jobbers in about 5 seconds, and then they were confronted by the Social Outcasts after that. Nothing really happened. Bo Dallas got on the mic and called the Social Outcasts hard because Enzo and Cass are soft, and they said they were going to get in the ring and show them how hard they really are. And I kind of laughed. I'm like, no thank you, Bo. I'm good. I don't need your hardness or your erections anywhere near me. But, Social Outcasts weren't even able to get any offense in. I don't know who it was. I think it was Axel jumped up on the apron, and Cass just kicked him right off, and that was the end of the segment. So this is pre-show match material, I would say, and I wouldn't be surprised at all to see it at Battleground. We had Paige and Sasha Banks taking on Charlotte and Dana Brooke tapped out to Sasha's bank statement. We also had Summer Rae versus Becky in a match that really didn't even get underway. Becky just went right out to the outside of the ring and attacked Natalya, who was on commentary. Natalya, of course, has recently turned heel, so that's another match I'm sure we will see at Battleground. Titus O'Neil and Rusev had another encounter tonight. This one was an actual match, and Titus won via countout. I think he speared him or threw him over the timekeeper's barricade table area there, and Rusev couldn't get back in the ring in time. Titus O'Neil wins via countout, and I'm guessing he will get the U.S. title shot at Battleground. We had a weird tag team match, Del Rio and Sheamus former League of Nations cohorts back together tonight. They're not getting along. They were in a tag team match against Cesaro and Apollo Crews. Del Rio slaps Sheamus in the face and then just enziguris him right off the apron, which is pretty funny, and leaves him high and dry to get pinned by Apollo Crews. So I'm not sure if we're going to get a Del Rio-Sheamus match at Battleground. If we do, put that shit on the pre-show. And then probably the low point of the night was The Miz, who made his return. We haven't seen him in a month, so I was initially happy to see him. He shows up in the back to Stephanie McMahon, and he starts bitching about not having the right accommodations for his travel or whatever the fuck. Kane is there, dressed as the State Farm salesman that we've seen him as before, and he's talking, and The Miz is bitching, and basically they bring up the fact that he hasn't defended the title in over 30 days, and tonight he's going to be facing a mystery opponent for the Intercontinental title. And then Twitter started blowing up. Oh my god, who's it going to be? An NXT guy, Randy Orton, Darren Young, Hideo Itami, Finn Balor. All these names were running through everybody's head, and I was thinking to myself, I didn't think it was going to be that big of a star, or that big of a surprise. And from the minute that they announced the match, and the way I saw Kane and The Miz interacting, I tweeted, I'm like, the WWE is probably going to troll us and have it be Kane. I thought they would go further with it. I thought somebody actually would return. I thought the fans would be expecting it so much, WWE would fool them and have Kane be the opponent, but then after the match, whoever the returning or debuting star was would show up and attack The Miz and set up an Intercontinental title feud. So a lot of people wanted someone to come out and win the Intercontinental title on their first night. A lot of people thought it could be Darren Young because they've been running those Make Darren Great Again vignettes with Bob Backlund for weeks now. We're wondering when he's going to debut. If he wants to debut in a huge way, that would have been good. But for me, I think they're treating this gimmick kind of like a joke, so I didn't really want to see Darren Young come win the Intercontinental title, but it would have been a good place to debut him. Definitely would have been a great place for an NXT talent to come up and take the belt off of The Miz, but it was like 10 after the second hour. It wasn't even like, big shit's going to happen when it happens at the top of the hour. This was already, kind of getting close to the end of the show. It just didn't have that feel to it like a huge surprise was going to take place. And when Kane came out, the fans shit on it. This was quite possibly the worst match I've seen this year as far as the crowd disappointment and just the overall, who gives a shit? Nobody cares about Kane anymore. We love Glenn Jacobs. We love the Kane character. He's an icon. He's a legend, but I have no interest in seeing him in big matches on Raw ever again. And the worst part about this is Maurice fakes an injury on the outside of the ring, like she hurt her leg or something. Miz runs out there to help her and ends up getting counted out. So you mean to tell me it's going to be Kane versus The Miz for the Intercontinental title at Battleground? Jesus, WWE, fuck off. Most likely that's what it's going to be, and that sucks. So, speaking of Battleground, we pretty much have the card figured out. I mean, I can think of probably 8 to 10 matches that we're probably going to see. Of course, we got the triple threat for the WWE title, Ambrose, Rollins, Reigns. We're going to have Cena and AJ. We're going to have Owens and Sami Zayn. We're probably going to have Sasha versus Charlotte. Most likely Miz and Kane, which is awful. Most likely New Day versus the Wyatts. Most likely Rusev versus Titus. Enzo and Cass possibly versus the Social Outcasts on the pre-show or something. Possibly Del Rio and Sheamus also on the pre-show. So that's like 9 matches. And did I mention Becky versus Natty? So the card seems pretty stacked and predictable at this point. It's just a matter of them building and getting to that pay-per-view on July 24th. We still got a long way to go. A couple other things I just want to briefly mention. I have been checking out some of the news on the WWE Cruiserweight Classic tournament that looks awesome. I forget the date on that, July 13th, I think maybe, on the WWE Network. It kicks off. I think it's a multiple episode type of thing. And WWE's gone around the world and signed some of the best light, heavyweight, and cruiserweight wrestlers from all over the independents here at home and internationally. So that's a pretty big deal that WWE even does this. This is not the way I thought WWE would have done things 10, 15 years ago. So this is really awesome. It should be a fun tournament to watch. A lot of big names in it. I'm not that schooled in independent wrestling, and especially internationally, with some of these guys in the cruiserweights, but I know a lot of you fans know who they are, and I'm excited to check them out. And this is the type of stuff I like, these little alternatives, and we've seen how much the business has grown and evolved. To be able to watch a tournament like this under a WWE umbrella is going to be pretty fun. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. And speaking of cruiserweights, has anybody been paying attention to the Will Ospreay and Vader Twitter feud? These two guys tweet very late at night, and I'm always up late at night, so I see a lot of this happening live in real time, and I get such a big kick out of it. I mean, Vader, who I love to death, I'm such a big fan of the old days, and especially Vader and his career and what he was able to do in there. But on Twitter, he's a little bit strange. Sometimes I don't know if he's just a little older and has trouble typing or saying his words. But a lot of his tweets are really jumbled. I mean, you get what he's saying, but he misspells a lot of of stuff, and sometimes his opinions are hard to figure out. But him and Ospreay have been going at it on Twitter because of what Vader initially said about that match with Ricochet. I've given my opinions on that. I personally love the match and understood that it's just another style and it's just part of the evolution of the business, but I can also understand an old-timer's perspective on it as well. But where I don't agree with Vader is how far he's taking it. He is sticking to his opinion that what they wrestled that night was a whole bunch of shit and didn't resemble professional wrestling at all. And that's where I disagree. Vader thinks his style is the way all styles should be. Wrestlers these days come in all different shapes and sizes, so I'm really not in a very much agreement with Vader as far as opinions on this match go. But him and Ospreay have been going at it so hard on Twitter, and finally a challenge was issued, and apparently a match has been signed between these two, taking place somewhere in some independent company. I don't even know where, but the fact that this is even happening at all, how can this not be a shoot? So one of these guys is going to have to suck it up and agree to do the job here. It reminds me of what happened between Ricky Morton and Kevin Nash when Ricky Morton started shooting on him, and Nash eventually booked a program with him and ended up beating the shit out of him and bloodying him, and it was really a nice way of blurring the lines of reality and fiction again. So with this match with Vader and Ospreay should be pretty funny and pretty interesting to see whenever the hell it does take place. But I found the Twitter war amusing, and I was wondering if it was going to lead to a match or a confrontation somewhere, but I sure as hell am interested in it. So that is it for me for this week. Sorry for the shorter than normal video. I'm going to try to come up here possibly this week and give you something, because there's a really good chance, or pretty much a 100% chance, by the way, that I will not be up here next Monday night. It's the 4th of July. I do have some friends in town. I'm going to be hanging out with them all weekend, including 4th of July, I'm sure. So I'm going to go ahead and rule myself out for next week since it is a holiday. And generally on these holiday type shows, WWE doesn't go too crazy. They never do anything too big on Memorial Day or 4th of July because they know a lot of people are not home during that watching it and enjoying the holiday. So that's what I'll be doing. I will be up a couple days later and I'll discuss what took place on Raw, but as far as coming up the same night or early Tuesday morning, I will not be doing that. So hopefully I can put some sort of other video up here this week in the meantime. But if not, I'll probably catch you next Wednesday-ish with a commentary discussing what took place on the 4th of July Raw and any more wrestling news and how Battleground is shaping up. So you guys have a great rest of your week. If I don't talk to you before the 4th of July, have a happy and safe holiday to all of those who are listening here in the States. To the rest of you, have a great week as well. Thank you so much for listening, and I will talk to you in a few days. Until then, peace.